Believers, as we invite both to another hour of learning here on The Message. The Message is brought to you by the Lehubila Islamic Media Foundation and Bonsai Masters of the Philippines. Our work is supported by further donors around the world who have given for the sake of Allah alone. May Allah bless them all. Thank you for joining us here on The Message. Just as a reminder, we're here every Thursday night from 7 to 8 p.m. here on DWDD. And hang around after our program for Women in Islam from 8 until 9 p.m. Now, on Wednesday night, due to popular demand, from 7 to 8 p.m., Brother Rahlam Muhammad will bring you the previous programs of The Message in Tagalog and a new program entitled The Message in Tagalog. Please contact us with any messages of encouragement or questions. Don't hesitate to write in whatever language you feel most comfortable with, whether it's English, Tagalog, Cebuano, Chavacano, Visayan, Maranao, Tausug, Maguindanao, Bicol, Pagansanese, Samal, Waray, Spanish, or Arabic. Any way you want to get a question to us, just do it. We'll have it translated, and I will research the answer, and it will be brought to you over the air in English and Tagalog. Any emails and other dialects will, inshallah, be answered over the air in English Tagalog and then email in the dialect used. So, how can you get in touch with us? Well, you can text us anytime throughout the week, throughout the program, anytime. You can text us at 0922-604-4233. Again, that's 0922-604-4233. You can email us at islamradio@yahoo.com. That's islamradio@yahoo.com. Now, we have a YouTube account where you can watch videos. We've been recording the videos ever since day one, and the video is at www.youtube.com/islamradioph. Again, that's www.youtube.com/islamradioph. We have a podcast account where you can download or listen live to the audio tracks from all of our radio programs. That is islamradio.mypodcast.com. Again, that's islamradio.mypodcast.com. Now, all of our online information, the email address, the YouTube, and the podcast account is shared with Women in Islam, as both of us are brought to you by the same organization here with the Lehubila Islamic Media Foundation. Now, a lot of people ask me, why don't you entertain phone calls or answer text messages immediately? Well, the answer is simple, my friends. I am not an alim. I am not a scholar. I am a student of Islam, and I bring you my own research and my own studies here on the air. So when you ask me a question, I may know the answer off the top of my head, but I'm not going to give you that answer unless I'm 100% sure. Even if I'm 99% sure, I want to do just a little bit of research for that other 1%, because I do not want to risk bringing incorrect information to you. So tonight we're going to explore the history of Islam in the Philippines and hopefully answer a lot of questions about the kinds of ongoing problems that Muslims face here, as well as addressing the conflict that keeps going on between Muslims and Christians. Now, most of the information for tonight's program has come from a book by Cesar Adib Majul entitled Muslims in the Philippines, and is produced by the University of Philippine Press. Now, I double-checked a lot of the historical information through various internet articles, online books, and of course I've expanded the opinions cited from news articles only from Filipino media sources and other Muslim sources such as islamowareness.net and of course my own views. Most people have been taught that Islam only arrived in the Philippines about 100 to 200 years before Christianity, and that it was brought by force and with a sword. Now, in some books written by Europeans, the Spaniards are painted as the saviors of the native people who kept them from the evil path of Islam and brought the mercy of Catholicism. The truth, however, is far from this. Islam arrived in the islands, which would later be called the Philippines, many centuries before the Spanish ever discovered them. Islam had become deeply rooted and embraced by the people through peaceful means. The Spaniards attempted an act of genocide in slaughtering Muslims indiscriminately in the name of the church. In fact, most history books treat Philippine history as congruent, that means the same as, the story of colonialism, and they treat all pre-Spanish time as something to just be glossed over or ignored. Unfortunately, I have to admit, as an American, that our history books are no better. Just like the Philippines, America had thriving nations of people long before the Europeans landed on the shores. Just like the Philippines, all that history has been destroyed by arrogant white men who considered anyone not fair-skinned to be savage, and their culture was deemed worthless and pagan. The sad state of affairs for both the American tribes and the Filipinos is that so much history has been destroyed through centuries and centuries of occupation and colonization. Now, unlike the American tribes, though, Filipinos here have control and are no longer overrun with arrogant Europeans who tell you to forget your history. Therefore, I beg you, as a human being, as someone who loves the truth in history and wants to eradicate the lies, I beg you to search for the truth. Dig as deep as you can to find the reality of your ancestry and reclaim your heritage. Now, I want to share part of that tonight with you. Somewhat I've uncovered from, as I said, mostly Filipino authors and journalists, and I want to share the work that they've done with you so that the Philippines can shake off the chains of occupation that still choke your society and create a rediscovery of the collective self. Admittedly, there are many problems with the chronology of the advancement of Islam in the Philippines, and this is since the oldest records were not specific with full names. Most only use titles and partial names. This often leads to events separated by as many as 50 or 100 years to be merged together, and so much history is lost by this simple error. Islam is only recognized as coming to the Philippines around 1400 because this is the earliest record of the Sultanate in Sulu. Now, the Sulu people and the Maguindanao people chose to establish local sultans rather than have Arab leaders. What we can see from this is that not only had Islam already been embraced prior to 1400, but that the people here had evolved so much in the religion and the culture of Islam that they created their own governance system to mirror that of the sultanates of Muslim lands on the other side of the world. They did all this without Arab interference, as the sultans of the Sulu people and the Maguindanao were locals who had been taught the religion by Arabs. Arab traders had established a small colony on the island of Borneo in Brunei.